Hello everyone and welcome to the Shadow Realm. Today we're going to showcase my Beetrooper Deck Profile. This deck profile is going to include all the new support cards from Burst of Destiny. Every single of the new cards adds a lot of consistency to the deck and makes it a formidable meta contender. But before we start, friendly reminder to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Also, check the links in the description down below if you want to support the channel in any way, shape or form. Also, if you have any questions, consider joining my Discord server. And now without further ado, let's dive right into the deck profile. We'll start things off with the best starter in the deck, triple copies of Beetrooper Scout Buggy. Scout Buggy, when it's normal summon, can special summon itself from the hand, deck or graveyard. This is an extremely powerful effect, either going for link or exist plays. And if you have at least one copy in your deck, you can always come back if you have the rest of the copies in the graveyard. You can't really play less than 3 copies of this card. This is just a better version of Tour Guide from the Underworld. The only drawback is that it locks you into insects. Moving on, we're playing the Kaiju Knight of the deck, triple copies of Beetrooper Scale Bomber. When an insect is normal or special summoned, you can special summon this card from the hand, and also, while it's on the field, it acts as an interruption by attributing itself or another insect. When a monster effect is activated, you can destroy the monster that activated the effect. That effect can be very powerful, especially in simplified game states, so you always want to see this card in your opening hand. Then we're playing double copies of Beetrooper Sting Lancer. This card can be special summoned either with the effect of Atlas or by its own effect by shuffling one insect monster or one monster your opponent controls back into the deck, and when special summoned can also search any of the Beetrooper spell traps from your deck. And now with the new support you have plenty of targets to search and continue with your combos after that. And we can always have Beetrooper Sting Lancer at the end of our combos in our hand. Now let's move on to the newest additions in the deck. We're playing one copy of Mighty Neptune that has a really powerful effect that when special summoned you can shuffle back any of your banished insect monsters back into the deck. This allows you to have your resources always available, and that's coming really handy, especially in the grinder matchups. It also has 2 other effects. One is that when it's destroyed or banished it can return back to the field, and the other one is that it can boost one of your insect monsters by 1000 every end phase. That might become really relevant, especially when you have Seraphim Papillion on the field, because you can boost his attack by 1000. That essentially allows you to apply more pressure against your opponent, because you will have many powerful threats that they have to deal with. Now we're also playing one copy of Light Flapper. This card is really essential in the fusion build, because it allows you when it's normal summoned or special summoned to get back 2 of your banished resources back to the hand. That essentially means that you have materials needed to fusion summon 4 insect monsters, or you can keep one of your banished cards like Sting Lancer, so you will have a hand trap during your opponent's turn. And this card can also negate an attack that can be very beneficial in simplified game states. And for the last Beetrooper in the main deck, we're playing one copy of Beetrooper Assault Roller, which is an extender by banishing one insect monster from the graveyard, or you can normal summon it to have another body on the field. It is also level 4 insect that you can search with Gokipole. Now moving on to the supplementary archetypes that we're playing triple copies of Battlewasp Stink the Poison. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can search for another Battlewasp card. And also, while it's on the field, you can tribute another insect to negate the face-up monster effects. Now we're also playing double copies of Pin the Bullseye. This card can special summon itself when we have another insect on the field, and it can also burn your opponent for 200 damage for every Pin the Bullseye that you control. That's an especially powerful effect, especially going into time. Next we're also playing double copies of Twinbow the Attacker. This is an amazing extender that requires to have an insect in the field to special summon from the hand, but the only drawback with this card is that it locks you into insects. But that's rarely a problem, especially if you're going first. And finally we're also playing one copy of Battlewasp Rapidfire. When it's normal summon, you can revive back a level 3 insect from the graveyard, and also if it gets destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon a Battlewasp directly from your deck. Next we have the best insect in the deck, triple copies of Resonance Insect. When sent from the field to the graveyard, you can search a level 5 or higher insect monster, and when it gets banished, you can send an insect to the graveyard. The crazy thing about this card is none of these effects are once per turn, and in this deck you have plenty of ways to recycle back this card and also use it multiple times per turn. Then we're also playing one copy of Contact C, one copy of Retaliating C. You can search Retaliating C as part of our combo and keep it in hand in order to use it during our opponent's turn, and when Retaliating C is sent to the graveyard, you can search Contact C directly from the deck. That means that we have 2 layers of interruption during our opponent's turn using a searchable hand trap, and your opponent is probably not prepared to deal with these hand traps. Now moving on, we're playing a single copy of Doom Dozer and one copy of Kumongous. If the bear statue is prevalent in your locals, you can change the Kumongous for the Gadarla. Keep in mind that you can search both of this card with Resonant Insect. Also keep in mind that Doom Dozer can be special summoned by banishing 2 insects from the graveyard, meaning that you will banish the Resonance Insect from the graveyard and activating its effect when it gets banished. And that's going to synergize really well with the cards that you're going to see next. Now moving on, we're playing a single copy of Gokipole and one copy of Shiny Black Sea Squatter. Gokipole is the target that we send to the graveyard with the effect of Resonant Insect when it gets banished. And Gokipole has the effect that when it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a level 4 insect monster to your hand, and if it's a normal monster, you can special summon it, and after that you can destroy a monster your opponent controls with attack greater or equal than the attack of the monster they special summon. Now moving on to the spells of the deck, we're playing a single copy of Beetrooper Formation, one copy of Beetrooper Descent, and one copy of Beetrooper Landing. Keep in mind that we can search any of these cards with the effect of Sting Lancer, and we actually don't mind if we see any of these cards in our opening hand. Beetrooper Landing is the one that can be bricky in our opening hand in some scenarios, but we can send it to the graveyard with the effect of Picofalena and then retrieve it back by its own effect. And Beetrooper Descent summons a level 3 insect token and also destroys a spell trap on the field if we control an insect with 3000 attack. Moving on to the power one-offs, we're playing one copy of Gold Sarcophagus, one copy of Called by the Grave, and one Monster Reborn. Gold Sarcophagus can be a starter because it can banish directly from the deck Resonance Insect and trigger its effect. Called by the Grave can deal with pesky hand traps, while Monster Reborn acts as an extra copy of Beetrooper Formation that doesn't have the drawback. Also, it can help you revive if you get interrupted mid-combo. Now moving on, the last spell card in the main deck is 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. This card is extremely powerful in this deck because if you get interrupted, you can draw 2 cards and go for your extenders, or if you have a really good hand, you can look at your opponent's hand and then rip another hand trap that they might have. But the card is also powerful going second because you can take control of one of your opponent's monsters. Now moving on to the trap lineup, we're playing a single copy of Beetrooper Flying Sting. This card can negate a monster effect and also can reset itself by banishing an insect from the graveyard. And the last card in the main deck is triple copies of Infinite Impermanence. In this format, usually your opponent doesn't have many negates, so this card can be very beneficial, especially going second because you can negate the problematic card your opponent controls and then combo off after that. It's also a great card going second against the Scythe lock because it can negate the Scythe on the field. Now moving on to the extra deck, we're playing a single copy of Salaman Great Almiraz. This card is really essential in the scenario that we open Resonance Insect and no other insect in the hand, so we can normal summon it and link it off. Then we're playing a single copy of Shinobi Insect. This is a generic insect monster that we can make with any 2 monsters that we have, so we can easily go into our higher link monsters. Then we're playing the best link monster in the extra deck, Beetrooper Armorhorn. This card has 2 relevant effects. The first one is you can activate it while it's on the field and normal summon an additional time, and the second one is in the graveyard where you can revive it back by banishing 3 insect monsters from the graveyard, and that synergizes really well with Mighty Neptune. Moving on, another pivotal card for our combos is Injector Picofalena. Many builds play 3 copies of this card, but if you manage your resources correctly, you don't need more than 2. With here you equip Resonance and shuffle back your resources back into the deck. And the last link to in the extra deck is one copy of Nightmare Phoenix, really handy going second because it can deal with problematic back row. Aside from Beetrooper and Descent, you don't have another back row removal. We're also playing one copy of Nightmare Unicorn and one copy of Seraphim Papillion. Seraphim Papillion is the card that we prefer when we're going first because it can revive back an insect from the graveyard, usually a copy of Sting the Poison that can interrupt your opponent during their turn, while Nightmare Unicorn is really handy to shuffle back our opponent's resources and a link climb into access code. As for the link monsters of the deck, we're playing double copies of Giant Beetrooper Invisible Atlas. This card is an incredible boss monster because it cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects and also cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, while it has 3000 or less attack. It can also tribute another insect monster to special summon a Beetrooper from the deck, usually going into Sting Lancer to search a spell or trap, or you can choose to bump his attack by 2000 and attack for game. Speaking of which, one of the best cards that can help you close out the game is Access Code Talker. If you have Seraphim Papillion and no other card that locks you into insect, this card can be very easily made and deal with your opponent's back row and go for game. Moving on, we're playing a single copy of Cicada King, a card that you can easily make with Beetrooper Scout Buggy. This card can negate your opponent's monster effects, and also when it switches position, it can also revive an insect from the graveyard. And lastly, the big boss monster of the deck is Ultra Beetrooper Absolute Hercules. This card is unaffected by your opponent's card effects and also has 4000 attack that can help you close out games. And that basically wraps up today's deck profile. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, that helps the channel a lot, and also consider subscribing for more videos like this. Also, if you want to support the channel and my ability to continue making videos like this, don't forget to check the links in the description. We also have an awesome Discord community that you can certainly join. Until next time, stay safe, and I will see you all in the Shadow Realm.